Do you remember how exciting and dramatic American Chopper was? It wasn't just any reality show. The story of Orange County choppers was full of raw adrenaline. The Teutul family ran a custom motorcycle shop where they turned steel and chrome into bikes that would make people gasp and often got into heated fights. American Chopper is a famous show because it has a great mix of skill, personality clashes, and emotional outbursts, drawing people into the chaos of the bond between Pohl Sr. And Pohl Jr. fans were hooked on the huge builds and even bigger personalities that gave these machines life. After all the fame, family fights, and hard work in the shop, there is still one question: where are they now? This video shows what the group members have been doing since the show ended. Let's catch up with the people who work at American Chopper and talk about their new projects and personal growth. There is no one better than Pohl Teutul Sr. to start this group. He is the main force behind American Chopper. As the show's founder and CEO, Pohl Teutul Sr. was its heart and soul. He was known for his intense personality, love of custom motorbikes, and famous rows with his son that kept fans coming back week after week. He was a big deal in the world of custom choppers because of how rough he was, how hard he worked, and what he wanted OCC to become. Sr. thought hard work and discipline were very important. He often had disagreements with his son, Pohl Teutul Jr., who brought his own creative ideas to the business. After the first season of American Chopper finished, Sr. kept running OCC and faced many problems over the next few years. I'd like to use OCC instead of Orange County choppers for the rest of this movie. Thomas Derbyshire, one of his business partners, sued him in 2017. Sr. was accused of misusing company money. Later in 2018, Sr. filed for bankruptcy, which happened at the same time as the new season of American Chopper. Even with these hurdles, Pohl Teutul Sr. made a big choice in his life when he moved OCC from New York to Florida and opened the OCC Roadhouse and Museum there in 2021. This new business was a restaurant, a concert hall, and a museum with some of OCC's most famous bikes on show. Even though the business world has changed, Sr.'s commitment to the brand and his goals for the company have stayed the same. Besides the OCC Roadhouse and Museum, Sr. has stayed active with custom choppers by taking part in bike shows and competitions such as the OCCC Invitational Bike Show and Biker Build Off. He has kept pushing OCC's unique designs and made deals with companies like Beat, Cat, and Bic to work together, and Hard Rock Cafe. His company now offers more than just personalized bikes. It also sells goods and does marketing. Fans can now even go on a new trip with Sr. as he works on his newest project, a show that might be called OCC The Next Chapter. Fans have learned through social media posts that the show will include songs from the band Radiobot and show how Sr. and his wife Joanne live in Florida. Even though the release date is still a secret, people are getting more and more excited for the next part of OCC. To talk about Pohl Teutul Jr., who is the chief designer and maker at OCC Jr., was very important in making the choppers that made American Chopper a hit look and feel the way they did. Jr. was a natural artist who added style to every motorcycle he worked on. He was known for his creative ideas and technical skills. But his unstable relationship with Sr. made him decide to go it alone in the end. After a string of nasty fights, Jr. quit OCC in 2009 and opened his own business in Montgomery, New York, Pohl Jr. Designs. His leaving of OCC was a big turning point for the show and the family. It also set the stage for American Chopper, Sr. vs. Jr., where the two would compete as business foes. Jr. didn't waste any time making a name for himself once he was free to work on his own. After following through on a non-compete deal, he started PJD with the same drive and passion that drove him at OCC. His skills quickly got him famous clients like Blizzard Entertainment, who hired him to make custom bikes for the 2014 web series Azeroth Choppers, which was based on the game World of Warcraft. Jr. worked with Paramount Pictures too, customizing two bikes for the 2016 movie Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadows. The things he does at PJD have grown over the years. Not long ago, he started making electric bikes with the launch of PJD Electric. This line brings his design skills to the growing market for environmentally friendly transportation. Jr. has written a book called The Build, Designing My Life of Choppers, Family, and Faith. It's not just about bikes, where he talks about his journey, his bond with Sr., and the part faith has played in his life. He is still involved in the custom bike community, and his reach has grown thanks to shows where he talks about things like mental health and helping veterans. Jr. has now made a successful and satisfying living from his time on American Chopper. He is thought to be worth $2 million, while leaving his own legacy different from that of his father. Michael Teutul, better known as Mikey, was an important part of the American Chopper cast as well. He was OCC's deputy general manager. To make the show more fun, Mikey added his sense of humor and was often the comic relief when Sr. and Jr. were fighting. Fans liked how laid back Mikey was and how hard he tried to keep the peace between his dad and brother. Mikey's duties at OCC included taking out the trash and answering the phone, but his appearance on the show was very important for keeping the family-run business in balance. Mikey went through a time of self-discovery and personal growth after he left OCC. He had a hard time with drinking and finally got help. He quit the family business to focus on his health and well-being. By opening an art studio and a company called Far Q LLC that made pasta sauces, Mikey explored his creative side during this time. Soon, Mikey was back in the world of American Chopper. He started working with Sr. and Jr. again, this time helping with OCC and PJD. Mikey now co-hosts a show every week with Al Franco in which he talks about his time at OCC. He is also very close with Vinnie Da Martino, who is another fan favorite from American Chopper and has been on recent episodes of Mikey's show. Social media posts say that Mikey is participating in OCC the next chapter and is working with his father to get ready to show fans this new part of their journey. Let us meet Vinnie Da Martino now. A skilled mechanic and builder who was an important part of the OCC team in the early days of American Chopper. People knew Vinnie for his great skills and his calm, steady personality, which made the often tense environment at OCC more bearable. He was very close with Pohl Jr., and the two of them had a strong friendship that went beyond their work at OCC. Vinnie made important contributions to OCC, but by 2007, he left to start his own motorbike shop, V-Force Customs, because he thought it was time to follow his own dreams, where Rock Tavern is in New York. Vinnie said I had gone as far as I could go there, and I had always wanted to have my own shop, but I didn't see any way to move up, so it made sense for me to leave and start my own place. It was a big loss for OCC when Vinnie left, but he kept working with Junior on unique projects after he started V-Force Customs. In 2010, he even went back to American Chopper for PJD projects during the Senior VS. Junior seasons. In the end, Vinnie chose to stop working on bikes and start working on cars. In 2013, he started Da Martino Motorsports, a company in Walden, New York that makes cars and trucks look different. Since then, his business has grown, and in 2022, he helped start Da Martino Industries, a company that gives away customized cars and sells branded clothing. Vinnie has built a great career by following his dreams and taking smart risks. His story shows how to be persistent and flexible. First, we'll talk about Petko. He was an important part of the OCC team as a designer and senior maker. Rick was a fan favorite on American Chopper because he was relaxed and worked hard at what he did, while he stayed close with both Pohl Sr. and Jr. He decided to stay at OCC after Jr. left and kept working on custom bikes with Sr. Rick was clearly dedicated to his job and loyal. He was even asked to both Teutul's weddings, which showed how much they respected and liked each other. Rick went back to his skills in metalworking after his time on American Chopper. His new job is as head fabricator at Pocono Mountain Harley-Davidson. He also runs a small forge out of his home called RPD Company. Rick makes one-of-a-kind knives, wedding bands, and other things by hand. He works closely with Damasteel to make sure the pieces are of the highest quality. His love for motorcycles is stronger than ever, and he still races old bikes on different types of terrain and shares his love for the sport with friends on social media. On top of that, Rick is in the new show OCC The Next Chapter, where fans can follow him as he goes on new experiences with the OCC family. His path from making custom bikes to becoming a blacksmith and an artist shows how versatile he is and how much he loves what he does. Rick likes a calmer life with his family when he's not at work. He is grateful for the balance he has found between his personal and professional interests. He stays in touch with his fans by posting information about his work on social media from time to time. His continued work in the field shows that even though the original OCC team has split up, their love for bikes and custom fabrication is still at the heart of who they are. Now it's time for Cody Connelly, the young star who started on American Chopper as an intern when he was 14 years old and quickly made his mark on the company. Cody did a lot more than fix cars. Putting together bikes was something he was naturally good at. He had never been to school before, but his skills quickly won over fans and co-stars. At Orange County Choppers, he finished high school. After that, he went to the American Motorcycle Institute to learn. What's so interesting? Teutul Sr. He is also taking care of his family by spending time with his wife and daughter. This new part of his life is very different from when he was riding motorcycles, but it shows how driven and flexible he is, which had been important to his job from the start. Jason Pohl is next in line. He is a talented designer whose path to American Chopper was both unusual and amazing. Jason's story began when he was in high school and making plans to join the Marine Corps. Fate changed course, though, when he got a scholarship that let him get a bachelor's degree in fine arts. With his degree in hand, he went into the field of video game programming and worked on projects that would eventually help him get into the motorcycle business. One of Jason's most important projects was a pinball game licensed by OCC that had images of choppers on it. Teutul Sr. Hired Jason because he thought his ideas were great. He was told to build real motorcycles instead of virtual ones. Jason became OCCC's senior designer, bringing together his artistic skills with his tech knowledge. He was not only technically skilled but also creative, and he pushed the limits of how motorcycles should look. Jason is no longer at OCC, he is now an independent industrial designer. SolidWorks is a well-known program used in engineering and design, and he is also a brand spokesperson for it. Jason now has his own business where he uses his skills to help with different projects by coming up with new ideas that are good in terms of function, value, and looks. Even though he works in many different fields, his background in American Chopper still affects how he comes up with new ideas. Jason keeps getting better with each new job, always looking for ways to make the user experience better. Now we'll talk about the people who work behind the scenes. Mike Rowe will start. For American Chopper fans, this is a name and face they know. He was known for narrating, and Mike brought the action and stories to life. There was a lot more to his work than his time on American Chopper. Before he worked on the show, he was known as the host of Dirty Jobs, a show that showed how dedicated he was to exploring different hands-on jobs across America. After leaving American Chopper in 2010, Mike went on to lead and narrate a number of other shows, such as Deadliest Catch and Ghost Hunters. A unique mix of humor, interest, and respect for trade jobs has made him a popular TV figure in the United States. Mike has also become an advocate for skilled trades, starting projects to show how important these jobs are. He also started his own whiskey brand, which shows how versatile and business-minded he is. Mike is the host and voice of How America Works on Fox Business right now. Mike is from San Francisco and has won many awards, including the Distinguished Eagle Scout Award from the Boy Scouts of America. In August 2024, he showed a documentary called Something to Stand For, which tells stories of bravery and strength, focusing on events like the Civil Rights Movement during World War II. People in the business still look up to him because he is dedicated to telling stories and wants to improve the lives of American workers. After Mike Rowe left, Jim Pratt took over as the show's host and narration voice. He helped fans through the last few years of the show's run. The way Jim Pratt narrated OCC had a unique tone that connected with viewers and made the stories better as they developed. Jim was a voice actor who did more than just American Chopper. He was known for his work on that show. He did voice work for the reality shows Out of the Wild, The Alaska Experiment, both first and second seasons, and Airplane Repo, which gave his TV work a new level. After the end of American Chopper, Jim went in a different direction, staying out of the public eye. In recent years, Jim became harder to find than many others in his field who stay in the news. However, what he did has not been forgotten. Several sources say that his most recent work was a small part as a radio host in the 2019 TV show Bob Hart's Abisola. Jim likes to keep to himself, so most people can't get in touch with him. However, his work on American Chopper is still an important part of his job. What will happen next? At this point, a lot of people are eager to know what will happen next with American Chopper. And I, for one, want to know what's cooking. The thing is, this show made people feel so much that it's hard not to wonder what will happen next. After being away from the original show for almost 10 years, Pohl Teutul Sr. and Pohl Teutul Jr., the Teutul father and son team, came back. They got back together for one last 2-hour show called The Last Ride, which ran on Discovery Channel in 2020. In this show, they worked together to make one last bike before the original Orange County Chopper's building was torn down. This was the last bike the shop in New York would make in that building. Both of them seemed to want a new start, but it wasn't long before old problems started to come up again. The family problems that had drawn people to the show in its early years came back, along with the arguments. When fans saw this, it brought back memories of how close Sr. and Jr. had always been. There is pride, stress, and stubbornness on both sides. Some people may have hoped for a different, happier finish, but it was clear that some things had not changed. It was annoying for them, but fans who had watched the two butt heads for years found it interesting. There is a new chapter coming, even though these old habits are still there. American Chopper has been given a second chance, and shooting is now happening in a Florida workshop. There is a promise that this time the bikes will get more attention than the family problems. The show's craftiness, creativity, and motorcycle building skills are what made it popular in the first place. It looks like they want to bring those back into the focus. It's also possible to see and experience new things now that they are in Florida, which could give the setting of the show new life.